5 seasons, zero trophy, and here is why next season is a make or break for Mikel Arteta. Now, let's talk about Mikel Arteta ever since he joined Arsenal. Now, Mikel Arteta didn't really start his career managing a club, making a name for himself, winning a title. Then Arsenal decided to go and get him, and we believe this guy can actually um, do it. I'm just trying to say how probably he started his career. The only evidence, the only proof of like, let's try and give this guy a chance, or just the fact that he worked with Pep Guardiola in that Man City era, in the era where Man City dominated 800 points and all that. So he didn't really start like the Xabi Alonso that had to go to a club, maybe win a title, then a big club is trying to poach them to come to the club. For Mikel Arteta, it was just from like an assistant coach straight to a very big club, which is Arsenal. Now, he took over Unai Emery's team, and that was the team that won the FA Cup. And ever since Mikel Arteta assembled his own team, he has not won any trophy. He has not won any trophy, he has only challenged. And I remember when Arsenal now started challenging for the title, even the Arsenal fans didn't believe they were going to challenge that season for the title. It was more of like, let's see what happens. Arsenal were playing very high line, moving the ball very quick. Like, it was an Arsenal that if he scores, we're going to score you. That's the kind of football Arsenal were playing. But I guess when they came up against Man City, I remember that game where Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne really punished them in terms of, because Arsenal played very high and there were so many space behind. I think that was when Mikel Arteta knew this wasn't maybe sort of, that style was not sort of sustainable. I'm guessing because Man City exploited the spaces behind them, that kind of thing. And the next season, Arsenal were a bit conservative. You could tell Arsenal were more about trying to prevent, trying to make sure the other team find it very difficult to score them. They were very strong, dominant. You couldn't bully them. They were full of energy, but they were not playing very free flowing football like that. It was just more of a conservative style of football compared to that first season when they actually challenged for the title. Now, this season, that's the 2024-2025 season, one will be expecting Mikel Arteta to go on to win the Premier League title. He lost it. He lost it back. He lost the Premier League title twice to Pep Guardiola, and this season, Man City are not in the like, Man City didn't even challenge. Man City are struggling. Rodri is out. Liverpool, Klopp left. They brought in a new manager. So you'll be expecting, if there's any favorite to go on to win the Premier League title, should be Mikel Arteta, because no one saw Arne Slot coming in his first season to win the Premier League title. Now, I know there are guys out there comparing Arne Slot to Arteta. Not trying to take away what Arne Slot has done, as Arne Slot has done a very good job. But Arne Slot had a spine in that team. Arne Slot had a team that has won the Champions League. Arne Slot had a team that's gone toe to toe with Man City. Arne Slot had a team that has won the Premier League. Mo Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, Alisson, Robertson. Like, Arne Slot had Premier League winning players basically. So sort of comparing that Liverpool team to an Arsenal side, I don't think it's fair. Yes, he has done a good job in terms of they didn't really have that squad depth. He was able to manage the players to make sure they all stay fit, especially the key players, the Van Dijk, the Mo Salah. I think Alisson got injured along the season, but the very key players in his team, he was able to make sure they all stay fit. Gravenberch, McAllister. So comparing this Liverpool side to an Arsenal side, honestly, I don't think it's very fair, because this is an Arsenal side that only challenge. This is an Arsenal side that they've not really, even in the Champions League, they've only gotten, that's under Mikel Arteta, they've only gotten to the semi-finals. So I know there will be guys there are guys talking about, Mikel Arteta should be out, and there are guys on the side of he still needs more time because of how the season went. Now, for next season, I believe is a make or break for Mikel Arteta. Reason because this season, yes, Mikel Arteta went through some ups and downs. We can say almost every manager go through ups and downs in the season. Pep Guardiola as well this season had some ups and downs. Slot as well had some ups and downs in terms of injuries. You could see there was a time Alisson was out. I think there was a period Trent was out Who again can I recall? There was a period where I think Gakpo as well was out. So they had some players out, but that's Liverpool. They had some players out for Pep Guardiola. It was never a full 11. The same set of 11, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. It was never the same set of 11. It's either John Stones is out or Akanji is out or something. Like, it was never the same 11 that played. But for Mikel Arteta, Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, there was a time Bukayo Saka was out, Odegaard was out, Ben White was out, and you can say these are some of his key players he actually needs in that team. Now, for next season, we all know, if nothing happens, then I'm guessing that is where, because now Mikel Arteta still has some Arsenal fans on his side, just due to the fact that, they didn't have a striker this season. They failed to get a striker, and when you look at it from a bigger picture, an Arsenal side that before Mikel Arteta came, they were not really challenging for the title. They were not really challenging for Champions League. Teams were finding it very easy to beat them. Emirates, there was no fear when you come to the Emirates. Right now, when you come into the Emirates, there's that fear. Wherever you are, whichever team you are, you need to you need to be at your best. You really need to be at your best. So this is an Arsenal side now under Mikel Arteta. They're challenging for the Premier League title. They're challenging in the Champions League. Yes, they've not won it. When you come to Emirates, Emirates, you need to play. You need to be at your best to play them. And now next season, I think the reason why some fans are still on his side is just the fact that there's no striker, and they were able to do all this without having a top nine so far. The 2 seasons whereby they've challenged for the title, they've really been that. They didn't really have that killer top nine. Even this season as well, they didn't really have that killer top nine. They were making use of Merino. So now, maybe there are some Arsenal fans that are like, okay, let's see what happens when he gets a striker, a top nine. And actually needs Arsenal don't need a striker that is coming to adapt or learn. That is not it. Arsenal does not need a striker that is coming to adapt to the league or trying to know how the Premier League works. No. Arsenal need a striker that is coming to just score goals and deliver. Pep Guardiola knew what he needed when he wanted to win the Champions League. He knew I needed a top striker, and he went for the best of the best. So Arsenal right now, I believe if they are going for a striker, they need to get the best wherever they can get. Now, so far, we all know the likes of Zubimendi will be coming to Arsenal. Who again? I think so far, I think it's just Zubimendi. We all know Arsenal need a striker, and next season is a make or break, because Mikel Arteta will have to win one of the major trophies, either the FA Cup, the Premier League, or the Champions League. Now, if he wins the FA Cup, and let's say he gets to the finals of the Champions League, probably those people will still talk. There'll be fans that will still say, "Oh, it's just the FA Cup." But I feel maybe the pressure might not be much on him if he actually wins nothing at all in the season. Because if he wins the Carabao Cup, there'll still be pressure on him. I don't think there'll be fans that will settle for that. It has to be either the Premier League, the Champions League, or the FA Cup. If he wins the FA Cup, maybe gets to the semi-finals or the finals of the Champions League, and maybe he doesn't win it, and they still challenge in the Premier League title. Fans are like, okay, this is the first. They'll be like, there'll be some fans that will be reasonable enough to be like, okay, at least he won one trophy this season. Let's see what happens. But next season is a make or break for Mikel Arteta, because 5 seasons, 0 trophies in some clubs. They sack you. In some clubs, they sack you. Honestly, they sack you, because at the end of the day, in big clubs, you are judged on the trophies you bring in. And for Mikel Arteta, you can't really, I know that there are some Arsenal fans that will say, "Oh, he should be out," and there are some Arsenal fans that are still on that. Let's give him time because of what he has done. You can't take away the good job Mikel Arteta has done in Arsenal. You really can't take away the good job he has done. A few years ago, we all know where Arsenal was. Like, you can't take away the good job he has done. Last season, it was the quarterfinals. I'm guessing they went out in the Champions League. This season, it was the semi-finals as well. They went out in the Champions League. Previous seasons, they were not even challenging in this Champions League. They were not even challenging in the Premier League. Nobody really wanted to come to Arsenal. Like, no top player with potential really wanted to come to Arsenal. Now, players within Europe, that have that potential to do well are willing to come to Arsenal. You can say maybe the reason why they may not go to the other teams like the Man City, especially just due to maybe more game playing time and just due to the fact of the squad, like how big Man City squad is, and you really need to prove yourself to be part of that. But for Arsenal, you know, you get that game time, and they are a team that is doing well. But next season, Mikel Arteta needs to deliver a trophy. He actually needs to deliver a trophy, because if he goes next season again without a trophy, it won't really. Sometimes I ask myself, if Mikel Arteta leaves Arsenal now, will any other club be willing to take him? Then again, I ask myself, if you give a Mikel Arteta a squad like Man City, where you know you have Haaland up front, you have Savinho, you have Rodri, or you give a Mikel Arteta a Liverpool team, how well will he do? So to me, sometimes I'm like, man, you never know. Honestly, you never know. But if if he's able to do this with an Arsenal squad that don't really have quote unquote, they don't really have, you won't say world class players like that. They have very very good players. They have very good players, and you are able to give him a team with Haaland, the Rodri, like let's say those set of players. And so next season, even for him as a manager, it's very very important, because the other clubs will be watching. Other clubs will be watching, and if he goes trophyless again, it's going to be very bad. Honestly, it's going to be very bad, because next season is a make or break. This season, they had injury issues. They got to this, I think, the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Newcastle United knocked them out. Semi-finals of the Champions League, PSG knocked them out. The FA Cup, I think they went out at the early stage. This so far, they're finishing second again. So in the Premier League, you can say in the Premier League they've done okay. You can't really say they're doing. They've done okay. Just they are still in second. They are still trying to get back to the Champions League, and they need to bring in players. Arsenal need to bring in players. Zubimendi, fine, they've gotten that one done. They need to bring in a striker. I will even say they need to bring in someone that knows how to create as well, because Odegaard, they need to take that pressure, needs to be off from him, because everything happens through him. They need to bring in someone to, why Odegaard, if there are days where Odegaard won't be able to create, they need to bring in another person that can help, and help Odegaard as well in creating those chances. On that left hand side, I think they need to improve on that left hand side. Martinelli, not good enough. If you look at defensively, I think Arsenal sound. Defensively, I don't think they need to bring in anything defensively, except they just want to add. But the midfield and the up front, they need to make changes in those areas. So yeah, that's it for me, guys, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about Mikel Arteta. Let me know if he should be out. Let me know if he needs more time. I think I'm on the side of I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I'm just trying to be reasonable here. I'm on the side of he needs, like, it should be next season. He needs one more season. He needs a striker, and if he doesn't do it next season, then I'll let the Arsenal fans decide what happens to him if he's not able to deliver a trophy next season, because next season is a make or break for Mikel Arteta, and a major trophy needs to come in, either the Premier League, the FA Cup, or the Champions League. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you very much.